Welcome to Rhino3D.tv. In the following tutorial, we're going to model a class ring similar to the one we see on the screen. Let's start a new document, small objects millimeters. Let's go now to Tools, Options, and set up our document with the right grid. We go to the grid option, make the grid 30 millimeters from the origin point. Minor grid lines are every 1 millimeter, major every 10 millimeters. And the snap spacing will be 0.5. Now let's go to the colors, change our major grid line to a color we can see better to define our space easier, like a light blue color. We click OK. And our grid is much easier to see now. Let's start the ring with a circle for the finger size. The circle is going to be 9 millimeters in radius. Now from the top view, we're going to draw an ellipse, defining the stone shape. We'll make a 5.5 radius for the length and 4.5 radius for the width. Now let's go to the front view. And the front view, we will move this new stone shape ellipse to its correct placement. Notice we're using the grid to get our measurement. Make sure to provide enough clearance for the lettering, which is probably going to be around 3 millimeters high. So you need to give yourself enough room. Move that a little higher. Now we'll take this circle, the finger size, and we're going to offset it. At 0.8 millimeters. And I think we need more space here, so we'll move this up just a little bit more. We are now going to offset the ellipse to give ourselves a small rim around the stone. We're going to use 0.25 distance. We can hide this curve using our pop-up menu, hide. And we can also hide the finger size. Now we're going to begin to draw the shank. We'll give ourselves some guidelines from the quadrants of the circle. We'll go with 2 millimeters from the sides and 1.5 from the bottom. So using quadrant snap, we snap to this side. Make sure ortho is on. Make sure we're straight. And this is going to be 2 millimeters. We need to mirror. So we mirror that one over to the other side. So we got 2 millimeters on each side. And we place a 1.5 millimeter curve at the bottom quadrant. Now we'll place an arc. Starts here, ends there, and point on arc right there. Notice the use of the endpoint object snap. These we don't need anymore. We'll get rid of them. So hit delete, select and delete. Now we're going to create the outer rim of the head. So I offset at 2.75. And I'm giving myself a 2 millimeter space between the finger size circle and the bottom part of the head. Still giving myself enough room. And giving myself 3 millimeter space. Gonna go in here from the two parts of the head. Now that one for now, we'll hide that one. I'm going to draw a straight line down the center line. Let's create a polyline from quadrant to quadrant, a quadrant, snap the ellipse, and we proceed to extend by arc to point to the center midpoint. And we get rid of that line. Now using a conic, we're going to define the tapering of the shank of the ring. Notice we're in the right view. We need to extend this conic slightly so that it's a little longer than our ring. So we go to extend. We 1 millimeter and we click on the endpoint. And we have an extra millimeter at top. Curve from two views. We now have the curve of the shank. We'll use trim. And we now have the curve that defines the shape of our shank. We need to mirror that across the red axis. Now we're going to create arcs at the ends of and quadrants of our shape, making sure we use endpoint, and from here to here, something like this. Now we switch to the top view, and we want to make sure we use quadrant in this side, quadrant there, quadrant here, and something like that. Now we'll go ahead and hide the finger size. Let's trim the top ellipse. There we go. And we need to create one more arc along the center. So we'll go from quadrant there to quadrant on the bottom to quadrant in the middle. And we create our surface using that network. Make sure our tolerance is correct and click OK. And I hit delete to get rid of those lines since I don't need them anymore. And this surface can now be mirrored along the green. And they can be joined into one. And we now have the shell of the shank complete. Now let's bring back some of our other curves out here. I'm going to draw another conic. Slightly on the outside, about a millimeter outside of the ring. And we'll use curve from two views to bring our circle out to this conic. Get rid of the conic, and we can even get rid of that one. Okay, now we are going to duplicate the edge right here, and we are going to use a polyline using quadrant snap. We'll create a polyline from this quadrant to this quadrant on the curve, and we'll put one at the bottom also. Now we can pick those new lines on the circle, and we'll use trim and throw away half of it. And we will follow it now with creating the surface. So we go to our surfaces and we pick sweep two rails. The first rail, the second rail, cross section, enter, and OK. And here is our half little surface there. We don't need those curves anymore. We'll go ahead and select curves, delete. We pick this here and we mirror along the green. So there we go, across the green I should say, and now we mirror across the red axis. Now we can loft the inside surface. From this side to that side, enter, and OK. And from this side to that side, enter, and OK. And the bottom of the ring, once we join it, is ready to go.